So this morning we're going to be talking about nutrition. And so for me, I think of nutrition as absolutely everything that I absorb. I know I have to take my nutrition to like a much higher level than most people, because my energy is needing to be much higher than most people's for the day for my job. But also because I heal people and help people and work with other people's energy, I'm very aware of my energy impacting theirs, and I don't want to be unhealthy. I don't want to be low vibe. I don't want to be unsafe. I don't want to have anything that might transfer across to anyone. The only thing that I want people to feel after they've sort of been in my energy for work is better, clearer, stronger, those kinds of things. I never want them to feel like a lot of the time people can feel like they've been hit by a truck when they've been to see me, and it can take a lot to recover from, but that's not low vibe, that's just healing. And sometimes when we heal, we have to go through those processes. Nat, you could attest to that. Bringing up people's stuff is one of my favorite things to do. So when it comes to the surface, usually it does make you feel a bit crappy, but trust me, I'm clearing out your vibe. It's all good. So for everyone else, when it comes to nutrition, depending on what you do, if you work with people, then your nutrition is something that, to be able to one-up yourself, you could consider something that you bring more to the forefront of your mind. And I'm not just talking about the food type, but if you're just working by yourself, or maybe, there is no real human exchange or contact when it comes to work, then nutrition really is just more about you and maybe your family and your friends. So it really just is something that you need to kind of gauge on your life in terms of how seriously you should take your nutrition most of the time, and maybe just how often you should just one-up yourself, or I don't know, just try and do better, I guess, because it is just doing better. One-upping, it's just doing that extra better choice. Hi Shani, good to see you this morning. So I will give it 2 more minutes to see who else jumps on until 6:05. So today's nutrition is going to be the food kind, and the next session that we'll do for nutrition, which I think I've got down for next week, I don't have the calendar with me, but that one is going to be more about everything else that we absorb around us. So in that, it's just like food, television, conversations, podcasts, music, colors, textiles, furniture, people. It's pretty much like thinking about yourself just being one big energy, and every time you come into any other type of energy, and everything vibrates, including the computer, including the paper that you write on, the pen you hold, your phone, the bed you sleep on, your pillow, everything vibrates. And so the more conscious you are of what it is that your energy is coming into contact, the better your energy, or at least the more aware you can be of what your energy is doing and why it's doing. So I know, like, if I go to certain spaces like the shopping center, I know that it's going to be very low vibe for me. So I'm in and out. I don't like to sort of hang around. So I kind of tend to do lots of little trips, because I want to minimize my time in those spaces. I also try to not take my children, because that just amplifies the negative. And, this is why when we see people who, kind of identify as spiritual, or on that spiritual path, and there's all different variants, but that's why a lot of the time people who do identify that way tend to wear the colors they wear, and the fabrics they wear, and how they fit their body, and what they're made from. is a huge part of why they're wearing what they're wearing. And while we can't control with food where the line that it's been down, because you'd really have to, if you really wanted to be pedantic about it and extra perfectionistic about it, which we're not going to be, and that's not what I'm going to ever aim for, but we have to go from the minute that the seed is put into the ground for the food that we're going to eat, and it's what the ground is doing, the soil, what the freaking moon was doing that day, what the sun's doing, who the person was and their intention putting it in, how present were they when they planted that seed, what quality water, what quality fertilizer, care, anything that they've used, it's from that moment. And then it might get picked. Who picked it? What was their intention and their vibration when they picked it? What day was it? What day vibrates at what freaking frequency? And then do they get thrown into the back of a truck and then get traveled across the country and then get boxed up and kept in the darkness for a couple of weeks to continue ripening? And then does the driver have a bad day or a fight with someone and then get into the truck and he's cranky? We cannot control the vibration of our food, but what we can do is do some very simple mind, just awarenesses throughout our day of things that are definitely going to lower our vibe regardless of where they've been, and the things that almost always will raise our vibe regardless of where they've been. And so the things that lower our vibe are always processed foods. Every single processed food will lower your vibe. I do tend to debate chocolate, if I'm being honest, because I like chocolate, and so I will find a way to make anything fit. But just organic dark chocolate, I'm addicted to it now. Not addicted, well, maybe addicted, I don't know. But organic dark chocolate is just the way to go. It's always going to raise your vibe. It's always going to make you feel better. And I'm lactose free, so the lactose free kind is also good, dairy free. So when we think about nutrition moving forward, for today especially, what I want you to do is try and incorporate as many of these things. I know that a lot of people will just go to work and they won't be able to get these things on the way, but even if you're able to not add these things, but instead look at your standard day on a plate and your standard, what's in a cup, and really just think about what it is that you're consuming and what that vibration might be based on what you're about to learn. So the foods that vibrate higher are whole foods and colorful foods, and that's because color vibrates at a frequency. So all colors have a frequency spectrum, and the frequency is kind of what we're aiming to eat. So that's why sometimes when I don't know if you've heard me talk about, I did talk about it last night in terms of chakra eating. And so we want to use the colors that correlate with the chakras because the frequency is going to match. So, and I did say the other night how I was eating a banana for my headache. And so yellow foods help with bananas. And that's because that it really just depends on the type of headache as well, because headaches, whilst they appear up here, they tend to stem from the solar plexus, the stomach, but also bananas are strong with potassium and magnesium, and that's what helps the headaches. So that's just that little side note. But foods that vibrate high, I'm just going to read them out because it's a pretty standard list that you could Google it and you would find exactly the same thing. So green leafy vegetables, so salads like kale, spinach, just lettuce, the darker green the better. So we always just buy the packet of pre-washed rocket and spinach, and we just throw it in everything. Like literally everything we eat has like a side of a handful of that. And the kids do too, like it's just chucked in and they don't even notice it because they've been doing it since they were little. And that the green leafy vegetables are probably the highest vibrational because they've got the most, it's like literally eating sun's energy. So I could go into so many details, but I want to keep it light and we only have half an hour, so I don't want to go into depth. But green leafy vegetables, look it up. Berries, colorful berries. So I, most of the time, will always have blueberries and strawberries. Like wherever I go, if I go to the shops, I'll just buy a punnet of blueberries and a punnet of strawberries and I'll pretty much eat them every day. So on my desk at work, if you ever come to see me, you would always just see a punnet of blueberries and strawberries. They are known as one of the highest produce to contain pesticides. So if you can buy organic, the better. But if you can't, then one thing you can do is get apple cider vinegar and wash all of your fruit in apple cider vinegar before you eat them. And I know it's a process and it's a new way of being, and it really just depends on how much time and energy and effort you want to be bothered. But I want to give everyone the option. So if you were to just go to Woolies, which I do, I just go and buy strawberries and blueberries. If they've got them organic, I will. If they don't, I just get the strawberries and blueberries and I run them under water at work before I eat them, and I do that. But I do know that that's better than picking up a muesli bar. I know that it's a heaps better vibration than picking up a muesli bar. So, and it's going to taste sweeter. It's going to fill me up more because it's got more fiber in it. So then there's herbs. Now, herbs like coriander, rosemary, and oregano are the highest vibrational herbs that you can have. So sometimes what I will do is instead use doTERRA essential oil for these herbs. Is anyone seen the Netflix special that's on at the moment called Unwell? Watch it. It's a series and there's only like I think 8 episodes in it, and each episode is talking about I guess some of them are traditional, so I don't want to say new age or modern, but they're remedies or things that are claimed to heal, like things like doTERRA oils, essential oils, and there's a whole episode on essential oils, and there's the pros and the cons of each of these things. So there's an episode on bees and bee stings, pros and cons. There's ayahuasca, episode on pros and cons, and each one is different, but they do have one on essential oils. And it's funny because intuitively and psychically, I have essential oils, but intuitively and psychically for me, I back off of MLMs, like network marketing anyway, because I find the vibration way too low, so I won't go near it. But the oils, I use them, but it's strange how I use them because sometimes I'm really off them and then other times I'm drawn to them. So ingesting essential oils is usually quite dangerous, but doTERRA have food grade oils, so you can. So I wouldn't suggest ingesting any other essential oils. Young Living and doTERRA are the only ones that are food grade, but really you have to do it in very small quantities and not every day, because you can burn your insides and cause a lot of damage. So I don't want to be irresponsible with the information that I'm putting out there. So often, sometimes, if I'm making a soup or something, I will add an extra bit of a drop of oil here and there just to amplify the flavors. But where possible, try and go as natural as possible with those herbs. Spices, turmeric, cinnamon, ginger, and garlic. Put them in everything. Everything will be orange because of the turmeric, but that's okay. And your hands will probably be orange and everything will be orange, but that's okay, it stains. But turmeric is an anti-inflammatory. And so we pretty much all need more anti-inflammatory properties. Like, it's just part of our lifestyle, unfortunately, that the foods that we consume, the vibration of the foods that we consume, plus stress, plus adrenal fatigue, and plus autoimmune, all these different things. Most of us, if we went for a run through, our inflammation markers would be higher than what they should be. So turmeric is really great for anti-inflammatory. It's also the cinnamon, the garlic, and the ginger, also antioxidant. They've got a lot of healing properties inside of them. So look those up and go to town on those. If you're worried about smelling like garlic, parsley will counteract that. So just add parsley to the end of it, which is good because it's a green leafy vegetable and it's a herb. Cayenne is also a really good one as well. Adding a bit of spice speeds up metabolism. So if you can handle a bit of pepper, a bit of chili, but particularly cayenne, that will speed up the metabolism. So when I was doing my natural bodybuilding competition, my coach had me pretty much whatever protein I was eating, which was usually fish, because I only eat, I'm pescatarian. I eat chicken sometimes, but I'm mainly pescatarian, so it was usually fish. And he would just have me bake it in turmeric and cayenne, like every single freaking day. I'm pretty sure my tongue went orange, but cayenne is great for the metabolism. The next one is raw nuts and seeds. So the more of those you can eat, the better. They're really high in the omegas, the oils, the natural oils. They're really great for your hormones and really great for adrenals. So nuts and seeds are amazing. They're really great for your solar plexus and your sacral as well. So if any of you have got issues with your solar and your sacral, your stomach, they're really great for that, on a sort of energetic, spiritual level. Then they talk about blue-green algae, which just makes me want to go, ugh. But blue-green algae is one of the highest vibrational things on the planet that you can eat, like the highest. Now, the way that we consume it is not go down to the beach and lick a rock. It is go to the shop and buy spirulina and chlorella, and it's green. Add it to anything that you drink, and it does have a bit of a grassy taste to it, if I can sort of match it to anything. But I don't. I might have one in the fridge. I might put it up later. But I buy the brand Impressed juices, and I just get them from Woolies and Coles. And when I do a juice cleanse with Matt, we will just buy all these Impressed juices because they're very clean. But they've got one called, I think it's called Green Supreme, and it's got spirulina in it, and it is so yummy. It doesn't taste like a green juice, but it is so yum. It tastes more like passion fruit, I think. But you wouldn't know. So just add even if you can just add like a teaspoon or a tablespoon into everything, it's going to be far better than not having it. But you can usually just buy them in little bottles about that big, and they just store in the fridge and they'll last a while. So try that. Tea. So any kind of herbal teas, there's like chamomile to rest. By the way, I hate chamomile. Can't even stand the smell of it. Lara laughs at me. But there's ginger tea, lemon tea. Lemon ginger are usually my favorite for the stomach, and it helps with absorption of everything else, and it also helps with metabolism. So drink as much herbal tea as you can, and herbal tea can be drunk cold or warm. Dandelion tea is my other go-to. Dandelion tea is a root tea. It's very high vibrational, very powerful antioxidants, very good for metabolism, helps keep you regular. And then water, obviously, neutral water, alkaline water, spring water, Fiji water. The brand Fiji water is very high quality water. Without going too far into that, no, I'm not sponsored. Wish I was, but I'm not. Lemon water, boiling lemon water. We're all drinking it. Most of us are, I think, this morning. Drink it. It helps the metabolism. Don't be too worried about. Oh, look at the little bobber. Hello. Don't be too worried about the enamel on your teeth being ruined. A lot of people come to me and go, dude, doesn't that ruin your enamel on your teeth? It does if you leave the lemon in your mouth for a long period of time. So I don't know about you, but hot lemon water is going down really quickly for me. It's not really staying in my mouth for too long. And then I usually drink it, and then my next thing to do is go and brush my teeth. So it's only going to be a problem for you if you just sort of let that water swish around your teeth and then you don't brush your teeth. So that's the only advice that I've got with that. And then there's the chakra eating. So I'm going to put it up on the Facebook page, and I'll send it to those people who don't have Facebook, but there is, you Google it, and there will be the chakra chart, and then they'll just have foods to the side that correlate with the chakras. And really, it's just colors. Most of the time, it's just whatever color the chakra is whatever color you should eat. The aim is to give each chakra a little bit of attention every day. So if you've got work to do with your solar plexus, then predominantly yellow foods. If you've got work to do with your root chakra, predominantly red, dark foods, but also root vegetables like sweet potatoes and pumpkins, and not pumpkins, potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, those kinds of things. So, and beetroots. So predominantly eat those things, but try and add a color of everything through your day. So today, what I want you to do is just, if you can't have any of those, or you don't have any available to do this today, start from tomorrow, go and get some things for the rest of the 22 days, but just try and instead just be aware of what you're eating and consuming and how it makes you feel. And that way you're one-upping yourself in theory, because, well, not in theory, you are one-upping yourself, because you're now consciously eating rather than subconsciously eating, and doing anything consciously is one-upping yourself. Now, food influences everything, whether you believe it or not. So the things that I want you to look at are your moods. I want you to look at your concentration, your focus. I want you to look at even the way that you can understand people and things and situations. The more cleaner you eat and the more higher vibe you eat, the more obvious it is when you've taken in a food. Like, I can't even smell lactose now. I can, but just the even it coming close to me, I have like such a strong reaction. Whereas for 30 years of my life, I didn't even realize it. But what I didn't realize was that my stomach, that made me look like I was 6 months pregnant after every time I ate dinner, was the reaction to gluten and lactose. But I learned to live with that symptom, Googling every 5 seconds when we finally had Google, because I'm that old. But we would look it up and we'd find symptoms like all these random things, and never did I ever once go to food. But now it's much more, common to go straight to the food. So just really be aware of how everything that you're eating and drinking is affecting you, because you might be quite surprised how quickly you can eliminate some of your physical symptoms or your mental or emotional symptoms based on what you're consuming. Does that all make sense? Yeah. I'm also going to attach to today's email an article written by there's a website called medium.com, and there's this really amazing article on there, in my opinion. The woman who wrote it, I find her to be very kindred to me. She just won't fall prey to the bullshit and the hype and the marketing ploys and all of that, and she's very balanced with the way that she gives the information. And it's basically going to be what we spoke about today, but much more in depth. So if you want to read that, that'll be attached to the email as well. So today, go forth and try and consume those. If not, try and just be aware of what you are consuming.